Snow White and Rose Red. Once upon a time, in a little lonely cottage, lived a poor widowed woman and her 2 children. In front of their home was a garden with 2 rose trees. One grew beautiful white roses, and the other grew vibrant red ones. The woman's daughters were just like those rose trees, so one was named Snow White and the other Rose Red. They were the best of children, good, happy, and always busy. They loved to explore the forest together, gathering wild berries. And a strange thing would happen. No animal ever tried to hurt them. The little rabbits would eat cabbage from their hands. The deer would graze peacefully beside them, and the birds would perch on their shoulders and sing their sweetest songs. Snow White and Rose Red kept their mother's cottage so tidy it was a joy to behold. During the summer, Rose Red, being the more adventurous one, would take care of the house and leave a fresh bouquet of roses on her mother's bed every morning, 1 red and 1 white. In the winter, it was Snow White's turn. She was a bit quieter and preferred the cozy indoors. She would light the fire, making the hearth warm and inviting, and hang the kettle over the flames, its copper shining so brightly it looked like gold. Their mother would put on her spectacles and read from a big book, while the 2 girls sat spinning wool, listening to the wonderful stories. Lying by their feet was a little lamb, and behind them a white dove slept peacefully on its perch. It was a picture of perfect contentment. One winter evening, as they were all sitting together, there came a knock at the door. It was firm and loud. The mother said, "Quick, Rose Red, open the door. It must be a traveler seeking shelter from the cold." Rose Red went to unbolt the door, expecting to see a weary person, but instead, a huge black head poked through the opening. Rose Red screamed and jumped back. The little lamb bleated in fear. The dove flapped its wings, and Snow White quickly hid behind her mother's bed. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I won't do you any harm. I'm half frozen and just want to warm myself a little by your fire." The mother's heart softened. "Poor bear," she said kindly. "Lie down here by the fire, but be careful you don't burn your coat." Then she called out, "Snow White, Rose Red, come out. The bear is friendly. He means well." Hesitantly, the 2 girls came out of their hiding spots. The lamb and the dove calmed down. The bear looked at them and said, "Here, children, could you knock the snow out of my fur?" The bear stretched himself out by the warm fire and let out a deep, contented growl. The girls, no longer afraid, would play with the bear, tugging his fur gently, putting their feet on his back, and rolling him about. When they got a little too rough, he would just say, "Oh, children, spare me, Snow White, Rose Red. Will you not leave your wooer dead?" When it was time for bed, the mother said to the bear, "You can stay right there by the fireplace." And so he did. In the morning, the girls would let him out, and he would trot off into the snowy forest. From that day on, the bear came back every single evening at the exact same time. The winter passed and spring arrived, melting the snow and bringing life back to the forest. One morning, the bear said to Snow White, "Now I must go away, and I can't come back for the whole summer." "Where are you going?" dear bear?" asked Snow White, her heart feeling heavy. "In the winter, when the ground is frozen solid, they have to stay underground. But now that the sun has thawed the earth, they break through and come out to steal whatever they can find." Snow White was very sad to see him go. As she opened the door for him, he hurried out, but his fur caught on the door handle. A small piece of his hairy coat was torn off. For a fleeting moment, as the sunlight hit the spot, Snow White thought she saw a flash of gold shining through, but she wasn't sure. The bear ran away quickly and was soon lost among the trees. Near the trunk, something was jumping up and down in the grass, moving back and forth. They couldn't quite make out what it was. The very end of his beard was caught in a crack in the tree trunk, and the little fellow was hopping about like a dog on a leash, unable to get free. He glared at the girls with his fiery red eyes and shouted, "Why are you just standing there? Can't you come and help me?" "What were you doing, little man?" asked Rose Red. "You stupid, nosy goose." The dwarf snapped back, "I was going to split the tree to get some wood for my kitchen. My little sliver of wood was working, but the log suddenly snapped shut, and now my beautiful beard is stuck. And you just stand there laughing." "I'll run and get help," said Rose Red. "You senseless fool. What good is that? I'm stuck now. Can't you think of anything better?" "Don't be so impatient," said Snow White calmly. "I have an idea." She pulled a small pair of scissors from her pocket and snipped off the end of his beard. As soon as he was free, the dwarf snatched a bag filled with gold that was hidden among the tree roots. He grumbled to himself, "Rude creatures, to cut a piece of my magnificent beard. Bad luck to you." As they approached the water, they saw something that looked like a giant grasshopper jumping towards the edge. They ran over and found it was the same dwarf. "Where are you going? Surely you're not going to jump into the water. I'm not that foolish," the dwarf cried. "Can't you see? That wretched fish is trying to pull me in." Just then, a huge fish had taken the bait and was now pulling with all its might. The girls arrived just in time. They held him tight and tried to untangle his beard from the line, but it was no use. Again, there was only one thing to do. Snow White pulled out her scissors and cut another piece of his beard off. When the dwarf saw what she'd done, he screamed, "Is that all you know how to do? Was it not enough to clip my beard before?" He then grabbed a sack of pearls that was hidden in the reeds and, without another word, dragged it away and disappeared behind a large stone. Not long after, their mother sent them to town to buy some thread and ribbons. On their way, they noticed a large eagle circling slowly above them. It swooped lower and lower, finally settling on a rock not far off. They ran over and saw, to their horror, that the eagle had grabbed their old acquaintance, the dwarf, and was about to fly away with him. The compassionate children immediately grabbed hold of the little man and pulled with all their strength. They tussled with the great bird until it finally let go of its prey and flew away. As soon as the dwarf recovered from his shock, he screeched in his shrill voice, "Couldn't you have been more careful? You pulled at my little brown coat so hard it's all torn and full of holes, you clumsy things." He then picked up a sack full of precious stones and slipped back under the rock into his cave. The girls were used to his ingratitude by now, so they just continued on their way to town. On their journey home, they passed the same area and stumbled upon the dwarf again. He had unexpected anyone to come by and had spread his precious stones out on a patch of clear ground to admire them. The setting sun lit up the brilliant gems, making them glitter and sparkle in every color imaginable. "Why do you stand there gaping?" the dwarf shrieked, his face turning crimson with rage. He was about to continue with his curses when a loud growl echoed from the forest. A large black bear came trotting out of the trees. The dwarf jumped up in terror, but he couldn't get to his cave in time. The bear was already too close. In a panic, he cried out, "Dear Mr. Bear, please spare me. I'll give you all my treasures. Look at these beautiful jewels lying here. Just grant me my life. And what use are two little girls to you? They're tender morsels. For mercy's sake, eat them instead." But the bear paid no attention to his cowardly words. He simply raised one huge paw and gave the wicked creature a single swipe. "Snow White and Rose Red, don't be afraid. Wait for me." They recognized his voice and stopped. When the bear reached them, his bear skin suddenly fell away, and there stood a handsome young man dressed from head to toe in gold. "I am a king's son," he explained, "and I was cursed by that wicked dwarf. But he stole my treasures and put a spell on me, forcing me to wander the forest as a bear until his death set me free." And so Snow White married the prince, and Rose Red married his brother, who was also a prince. They shared the immense treasure that the dwarf had collected in his cave. Their old mother lived happily and peacefully with her children for many more years. She brought the 2 rose trees with her, and they were planted outside her window, where every year they bore the most beautiful roses, one white and one red.